Good evening, folks. I wanted to do a video today concerning positive listening skills. And as a psychologist, I find this very important to have positive listening skills. And part of this is as you come across to people, you need to be positive and you have to express positive energy. So, in other words, if somebody comes across to you as being anxious, or somebody that comes across to you as being depressed, you have to give off this certain vibe that you're positive and you're giving a positive experience in active listening. Part of this is when you're doing this active listening is verbal and nonverbal skills. And part of this when we're talking about this is you first have to be, like I just said a few minutes ago, you gotta have to be positive about your approach to people. But the next thing with these is the nonverbal skills. It's like if somebody comes up to you, you start smiling, nodding your head, and listening, because then this comes across to the other person that you're listening to what they're trying to say. And this is a good point in relationships to be able to do this, and also in the workplace as well, especially in a meeting or even in a not social setting as well. Is that you, if you meet somebody, is you come across to them as being attentive, and you're also being positive in this approach. And part of this is the nonverbal skill by nodding and smiling. The other aspect of this is the verbal skills. And what I mean by verbal skills is if somebody says a statement and they go on for a while, you would say, "Oh, let me understand what you're trying to tell me, blah, 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 blah. And is that correct?" And then if they say, "Well, not cry, blah, blah, blah," and then you let them go on and you just let them keep talking. And then you wait till they're finished, you give like a second, 2 second pause, and then you say, "Okay, let me understand. This is what you're saying." And when you're doing this, this comes across as developing this positive acting with the person. And let me repeat again, this is good in relationships, social settings, in a work environment. Because then what this with the if you're that other person that's right across from them, they see that you're being active in what you're trying to tell them. This is really key, and especially in a situation, for instance, if there's an argument with your spouse or your significant other, when you have a disagreement, something, and then you're actively listening to them. This is part of what I call positive active listening skills. The other thing that I think is important, especially like for me, ENTPs, people like myself that say Sigma male, is not to interrupt somebody. So, in other words, what you do is that if they're going on about an event that happened at school or an event that happened at home, you let that person finish what they're saying, or a situation happened at work. You let that person complete what they're trying to say, and then you give it a second or two, and then you respond to that. And this is key in any type of relationship, but this is really critical when there's a disagreement, like I said, with a spouse or a significant other. So that person feels, and this is important, feels respected and that you're listening to them. This becomes sometimes a cause in conflict in relationships when the other person doesn't feel that they're being respected because you interrupt them or you don't hear what they're trying to say to them. So the point here is you try to develop these active listening skills. And folks, this is, I'll be the first one to admit, and I'm sorry, rubbing my nose, this is very difficult to do. So the point that I do is I practice this every day, is I reflect, if somebody reflect on listening to somebody, especially as a psychologist, you have to do that. I had a phone conversation with a friend of mine, so I would always let her finish what she was trying to tell me, and then I would reaffirm what she was trying to tell me, and then let her repeat what she said. This, like I said, is critical for people in relationships because a lot of times this is what causes relationships to fail or even to falter a little bit because that person believes that they're not being heard. This also occurs in the workplace. I've seen it before where one person, I'll be sitting as a mediator, and one person says, "Well, you said this," and this other person said, "Well, you said that." But really, each person misunderstood what the other person said due to the fact that they weren't doing active listening. And part of this is positive active listening to a person. And when you do this correctly, it also increases your positive vibes because you're actually listening to the person. Anyway, these are just foods for thoughts for the day. Please remember, I just finished my book. Don't buy that lottery ticket. It's available now on Amazon. The Kindle I'm offering right now is for a free read. The paperback is for $4.99. Please hit the like and subscribe button below. And anyway, I wanted to thank you for taking the time today, and I wish you all a successful evening and a best tomorrow. Thank you again for listening, and please hit the hit the like button, and subscribe. And remember, the new book, "Don't Buy That Lottery Ticket," is now available on Amazon. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.